Standard Deviation.
Hello.
Yay! Yes, yes.
It's a Scandinavian connection this time.
Finally, yeah. No, but this is good, Simo. Now I understand why people that come from Scandinavia are sometimes not that very excited about shit. How can you?
Hmm.
How can you be excited?
I
When
know. Like,
I came in the first week here in Malmo, and it was sunny. It was 23 degrees. I went to the beach every day. Took pictures. I even painted, Simo. I went back to painting. Like I had
hmm,
hobbies from last Sunday until now when we are recording, and this day, whichever day is, it doesn't matter. It was raining so bad, and like last night, they gave this announcement that is this torrents coming.
yeah,
So probably I blame you. I think it's from Finland.
it could be. It could well be. Or actually, it's from Russia, maybe. But yeah,
Nothing good comes from there. So there you go.
there's a lot of rain in Finland. It was like promised that there's going to be like 50 milliliters a day, which is typically like a monthly rainfall. Of course, like flash floods in some of the cities and some of the rivers are streaming, but that's like nothing compared to what's been going on in Central Europe with like the Czech
Yeah,
Republic and Poland and all of those. There, you can
Romania
see.
too.
I was talking to the Piwik Pro guys, and they showed me like a series of like security camera shots from a single street, and I know I think they were 1 hour apart, like three of them. The first one just showed a street and a shed or some kind of a house. The second showed the rain coming in, and the third, which was like 2 hours later, showed that the water was above roof level. Like that's the speed of the flash flood when it came over. It was
Yeah,
just terrible stuff.
yeah, it's really bad, and I saw in Romania and Hungary too because
Yeah,
Hungary. Sorry, because that's how it's said in English, not Hungaria. It's Hungary. It's the Danube is very very
yeah,
upset, and it hasn't been good. Like in where I come from in Romania, it's like the whole village was kind of like wiped
yep.
out. Yeah, so it's
It's
pretty bad.
messy. It's
I
really
think
bad.
here, obviously in Scandinavia, people are used to this type of weather because I still see people jogging in the park here, walking like there's no problem.
Well, I mean, it's like Scandinavian countries. We just have all four seasons. Like that's the thing. We have all four
In
discrete
one day,
seasons.
in one day, I've seen it in
Well,
one.
you can have that as well, but like the houses are built well. Typically, the infrastructure of like how the drainage is done is typically quite good, but
Yeah,
nothing can kind of withstand that much water. So there's going to be problems anyway. Like the drains are going to fill up and the sewages are going to fill up. So it's unavoidable. But it's mostly a question of like how do we handle that when that crap hits the fan. So but yeah, it's better now here. Like it's still raining, but now it's more like a typical fall weather because we had an unreasonably warm September. Like one of
yeah, it was hot. It was
yeah,
really.
it was like over
See
20
now,
degrees, which
there
is
you go.
completely
Now
yeah.
it's
That looks like Scandinavia. Yeah,
yes.
but yeah. Anyway, yeah,
Well,
interesting.
it's good. I want to know if in Finland like you have designated bus stops.
Yep,
So do you really need to click the stop for the
of
bus?
course. How else would the driver know how to stop?
You're
Because there's
sitting
like
at the
50 bus
door.
stops.
You're sitting at the door. Do you know it happened to me like four times? And yesterday, I was talking to the bus driver, which I shouldn't do, and I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but I'm chatty like that, and he was chatty too. So I was supposed to get off to pick up Adi from school, and then I told him I need to get off at Hillisvanparken. And he said to me after we passed it, and he sees my face change, and he said, "Oh, you wanted to get out there?" Yes, bro. And he was like, "Why didn't you press stop?" I'm here. I'm here next to the exit. So, and I said to him, "Just stop here." He was like, "I can't stop the bus." And then he left me in the fields, like, 'cause there you go and hide bodies. Like, I could see Copenhagen from where I was. It was just fields, and it was raining so bad. And I only
wow.
had this small little bus stop where I
Yeah,
was inside there with like
yeah,
more people that were there. And I could see, I swear to God, I could see Copenhagen because like Healy is kind of like as far as you
yeah.
can go. So it was nothing there, just fields.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for 15 minutes for I would have walked, but you couldn't have walked because it was that rainy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
I
learned my
mean, so
lesson.
yes, so yes, you do have to signal that you want to stop because, like,
Now I'm like this.
yeah, for sure, and you don't necessarily want to press it many times because some buses don't like prevent the additional. When you press again, it still does the chime. So the
Oops,
drivers hate that when people just keep chiming.
I was doing.
Yeah, so you don't want to antagonize the driver ever, and just by standing next to the doors doesn't make sense because many people just stand next to the doors. So then the driver would never know when to stop. Of course, you had told him, so maybe it was a bit of his fault that he didn't pay attention. But he doesn't have to pay attention because he
Yeah,
deserved it. But
yeah,
where he made where I think so if you're in the city, they will very rarely stop outside the bus stop because that's dangerous when a bus starts scooting over a lane. But in the countryside, they quite typically do. If there's no traffic,
of
it's not
course.
a problem for them to just stop there. And I think the other thing is that they don't want to like set a precedent so that all the other passengers on the bus are going to be like, hey, just leave me like 50 meters away from the stop because that's where I live. Is that okay with you? But the funny thing is, like in Finland, for example, when you go just outside Helsinki, there's this national park, Nuuksio. And when you take those buses, you'll just tell them, like, just leave me at such so and so road, and they'll do it because it's like the attitude changes immediately once you're away from the city
Yeah, you
limits.
couldn't do that in Helsinki.
No, you couldn't do that in Helsinki, and you shouldn't because you
Yeah,
shouldn't expect that because they are super meticulous about keeping on time and keeping on track. And so, yeah,
yeah, no,
interesting.
it's just a lot to learn. And like, why does everybody have a lamp at their window? I've never seen anything like
A lamp.
everybody has a lamp at the window. Like if I look right now on the window, everybody has lamps, but it's like a lamp contest. I don't
I
understand.
think, so my theory, that's a good point. We actually do have a lamp in the window as well. And I can tell you why we have. And it's because we have like a couch or a chair right in front of the window. So we get the natural light during the daytime for reading. And then
Uh-huh.
in the evening, when the light goes down, we need a reading light. So that's
Oh,
typically it.
yeah,
Because
because
that's often the best place for reading because you get the natural light in.
yeah, because I'm also in the window right now. Because you have like I like this about I think, and I saw it's a Swedish thing. Like you have this big blocks of marble at the window that's pretty big, so you can put your stuff. It's like kind of a desk
Oh,
for
you
me.
like a window? Yeah, yeah, like a window ledge, like a
I
big
love
block.
it.
Yeah.
But like I was like, what's up with all these lamps? Because like I'm looking right now at the window, and it's like a lamp contest. Like which one has the pretty? I even saw one that looks like a ship. And
Yeah.
people probably think I'm crazy just sitting here looking at their houses.
Well, it's an easy way to make a decoration, and also like if you have this could also be it that if you have a light source in the window,
Uh,
it kind of hides what's behind it because it's brighter than what's in the room itself. So you could use it as like a privacy thing as well because people can't see what's behind it. That could be one reason as well. But I think it's mostly the reading thing,
yeah,
and but
since
when winter comes, people put like candle holders and everything there. So that's a different thing. Then it's
I
like
have candles too, because I saw
yeah,
people have, so I bought them from Mika for
yeah.
3 krona.
Yeah, but that's one thing. Then you really want to show off. Like I have these cool candles here.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is cool. It's a lot to get used to. Like, but I don't want to speak about this whole.
Yeah,
But
so I have something to share. So yeah, so we moved house in June, and
yeah,
we're living in a new place, and it's wonderful and everything. But we of course we brought along a lot of devices like speakers and TV and home security and whatever what else we have. And
yeah,
now we have this thing for the last 2 weeks, and every night, almost every night around 1, 2, maybe 3 a.m. there's a voice in English saying something downstairs. So we sleep upstairs and it says it downstairs. And me and my wife, we always wake up to that voice, but we only hear like the last two words. And it's always something about like, well, we know enough that it's English, but we don't know what it says because we always wake up too late. And so this has been really bothering us. Like it's super mysterious. It's probably not a ghost. But then, so what we've been doing now is I put my mobile phone downstairs and I set it to record for the whole night. And every time I set it to record, we don't get the voice. Like we sleep through the night. But one sidetracking here a bit. If you start recording the sounds in your apartment at night, there's some weird stuff going on. Like we hear these like clicks and like something tumbles and suddenly something starts like going. It's like Paranormal Activity. If you know those movies, it's very very horror story ish. But yeah, we still haven't figured out what that voice is,
Oh my god.
and it's in English. Like
Why would
almost
you
all of
have
our
a
devices are
Finnish
configured for
ghost?
Finnish.
It
Sorry?
should be a Finnish ghost. It should be something local.
Yeah, this is an international ghost, so I'm okay with that. Like I'd love to have a chat with it, but the problem is that we have no idea, like no inkling of what it could be. Like we've gone through all the devices, and none of them should have a reason to start saying something in English in the middle of the night. I
What if it's
never
a
have.
toy?
Sorry.
What if it's one of those toys that sing or do something in English?
No, it's not like that because
What does it
it's a very
sound
like an
like?
error messagey voice. Like it says, "You are running out of power," something like that. Super monotonous, and it's not like a toy. Um, yeah, I don't know. So the mystery goes on. We'll just have to maybe start unplugging stuff one by one and see which one. But
This
then because it's not every night, that's the thing, and yeah, and I don't understand what the correlation is with me having the mobile phone downstairs unless it somehow hotspots to my phone, and when we're upstairs it can't reach it, so it complains that it doesn't have network, and then when I take the whole phone downstairs it does, but I don't think that could be because I should see that it's being hotspotted.
but that's scary though.
It's scary, but it's also like it's not really scary at all because it's like I'm okay with living in a paranormal world, but I'm pretty sure this is a device because it has that electronic twang to it.
If
um,
this was Romania, I would have said to you, you gotta call the priest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We have the whole village here, like spraying incense everywhere, and
Call
yeah. Talking to my ancestors and trying to calm them down that this guy is okay. I know how Romanian ghosts
Who
work.
would have came sprayed this shit up?
Yeah, it's
Like, no, no.
I've seen Dracula, and
Oh,
there was
wait.
that Leslie Nielsen movie. Do you
Oh,
know
that
that?
was so
It's
funny.
so good. It's so good.
It's better than the original, actually.
It is, but it's not bad. The one with Gary Oldman and Keanu
No,
Reeves.
no,
It's not
no.
bad. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
And he actually has very good Romanian in it, which is it's
Oh,
interesting. Just speaking
Leslie Nielsen,
Yeah, no, 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 no. I'm talking about the,
the the, the
the
serious movie. Yeah,
yeah, and it's pretty good. But anyway, yeah, sleeping with ghosts.
yeah,
That's
it's fine. Like I'm okay with that. I don't mind, but I just like to, like with everything I do.
I would
And
freak out. I wouldn't sleep, Simo. I would
no,
watch it.
no.
I would just stay there in the living room and watch it. Like,
Well,
what?
we've been meaning to do that. Just go, take the pillow and the blanket to the couch and sleep there. But we just never get we don't want to give up the sanctity of the lovely mattress of the bed. But yeah, we'll see if it continues. I'll just start unplugging stuff next.
To be continued. Maybe it's a ghost of a tag that you have.
It could be like a broken implementation coming back to tell me that I should have should have done a better job with the conversion API stuff or something. I
You've
don't know.
done enough, Simo. You've done enough to us.
Yeah. Go server side.
Well, we are talking about server side today.
Nice segue. Well done.
We this is it's not much, but I have a good time. It's like it's honest work.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool today. We are gonna talk about server side. We're gonna talk with Dennis from Stape.
Yeah.
But before we do that, tell me what's up at Simmer. You guys were at the Nordic Business Summit.
Yeah. So
Tell me
yeah.
everything.
So let's see. Yeah. First, it was Measure Camp London. First, that was
Oh
last
yeah,
weekend. That was fun as always. It's still, I think, the best Measure Camp in terms of just the quality and quantity of talks. Like all Measure Camps have great talks,
of course.
but London is just something special because you have like, I don't know, 60, 70 slots altogether. Like so many rooms and so many talks, and it's
I've
just
never been to it. Never been to
yeah,
it.
it's really good. It's really good, and just a very enjoyable thing. And it's kind of the OG one, so you see people you only see there.
Mm,
And for me, it was the 10th year I go to Measure Camp London, so it's like just seeing a lot of folks from a not too distant past, but 10 years in internet time is a lifetime. So it's definitely like fun to see catch up. So yeah, I had a good time there. I took a risk and I did a live demo, which worked beautifully
Ooh.
because there's been patchy Wi-Fi in earlier years, but this was really good, and so that was a lot of fun. Yeah, and then this week there was the Nordic Business Forum, which is like how should I describe it? It's like it's an event for mostly for like business owners and CEOs and people like this. Like it's a very very fancy, very well built event.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been, but I think it's comparable to some of the big tech events in the US, like South by Southwest and all these, where people are like very, they get the biggest speakers in the world. Like historically, there have been like Barack Obama and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this year there was some amazing speakers. There was Brené Brown was there. My wife was, Mari was specifically looking forward to seeing her. There was Bosma St. John. There was just a lot of like big names. Adam Grant was there. And so why we go is because it's a 2 day 2 day kind of vacation. The catering is wonderful, and it's just many people go there to network. So it's primarily a networking event. I hate networking, so I absolutely don't do that. So they've got an app, and
Oh, I
people can
hate
kind of
those.
approach you with like, hey, can I
I
I
hate those
find
apps.
your company intriguing. It's like LinkedIn Live.
Yes, I hate those apps. I know
Yeah,
them.
there are like tables with numbers. So let's see at table 156 and talk about whatever. So no, that's not my thing. But many people go there for networking, and all the power to them. And the like everything is built for networking. So if you like networking, it's a really really good event for that. Um, yeah, and but one of the things I like about it is that the speakers are many of the speakers are just so incredibly good, like on a completely different level than what we see in our conferences. No offense to anybody speaking in analytics and marketing conferences, but these are TED Talk level talks. Like they are absolutely phenomenal in what they do. And so for me, it's like a lesson of humility in that whenever I have a kind of egoistical streak of thinking, hey,
I'm the
I'm
shit.
probably a really good speaker, I'm probably an expert in something, I'm just floored because these people do amazing. They're just so good. Their intonation, their tempo, everything, how they conduct themselves on stage. For example, there was this guy Chris Voss, who used to be the leading FBI hostage negotiator, like for 24 years, and he was delivering a talk, and he was just you could hear from his voice. I think there's been some studies about his voice that it's the exact correct pitch and timbre that calms you down, which is why he was such a good negotiator. And so he was delivering this talk, and he was just like milking that voice, like he was going super slow and dramatic, and people were on their edge of their seats listening to every single word, and he knew exactly how to do that. So it's for me, it's like a lesson in or a reminder that when you do public speaking, there are just certain principles to go by, like speak slower than you would, make pauses, give the audience time to think. And then there was this, what's his name? I'm gonna have to Google it quickly. He was the former owner of 11 Madison Park, which used to be like the best restaurant in the world. And he was the owner when it became the best restaurant of the world. And he did a talk like for 1 hour without any slides, and he was just like telling, and with no stuttering, like he just delivered, and super personal talk, like he was telling how they go above and beyond to help the guests, and kind of, for example, if there's a guest who says that, oh man, like this is our last day in New York and we didn't get to go sleighing in Central Park because it was snowing. So then his team like orders SUVs, gets them sleighs, and takes them to Central Park with like a bottle of hot cocoa, and they get to go outside and play in the snow. And then the team brings them back. And so he was telling all these stories without any slides, and I was like, "Damn, that's really cool!" Like,
It's really
one day
cool.
I will have the balls to deliver a no slides
I
talk.
always wanted to do a no slide
Yeah, it would
thing.
be so cool. But for 1 hour, that's crazy. Like TED
Of
Talks
one
is
hour
17
is a lot.
minutes. It's different. But 1 hour is absolutely crazy. And he did it without boring anyone or without veering off the tracks. And it still sounded organic, like he's not reading a script or doing anything what he had memorized.
Oh, and this was in Finland even?
This was in Finland, so it's a Finnish event. Yeah, it's a Finnish event, and they've expanded to Amsterdam and Norway now as well. Let me just
And if
quickly.
I've
Yeah,
seen,
Will Guidara. Sorry, Will Guidara is the gentleman's name that I was just talking about. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I've
it's a
seen
fit.
pictures with you and Mario on LinkedIn. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's kind of, we are not the target audience because we're just like a mom and dad shop. The target audience for these talks are big organizations that need to make a change. Like, how do they fix talent development? How do they fix employee retention? How do they fix sustainability? Like, it's not for us. Like, we have a very different
You get
approach.
inspired, right? So
Yeah, yeah, and many, like, there are nuggets of wisdom in all. Like, how do you interact with your customers? How do you interact with your business partner and stuff like that? But it's just fun to, yeah. So that's this week, and in general at Simmer, we're just chugging along, building our courses, working on the new BigQuery stuff, and just, yeah, not stressing too much about anything. I'm not sure if we'll have another course release this year. It's looking more and more unlikely that we're
yeah,
going to push our next courses to next year, because there's also some work that we need to do fixing the old courses with certain changes in server-side tagging, for example, which forced me to reshoot some videos and stuff
because
like
you're a
that. But it's,
perfectionist. But yes, this podcast is sponsored by Simar. That's why.
yes, yes, yes. This podcast is of course sponsored by Simmer, which we are always happy and proud to do.
And even if
And
you don't release anything this year, you can still benefit from the courses that we have, right?
yes, of course, we have six. I think we have six. Well, somebody else can count for me, but I think we have six courses for technical marketers. And if you want to enroll in them, you can use the coupon code DEVIATE. That's DEVIATE to get 10% off an individual course purchase. And we are, of course, approaching holiday season, so we'll probably have some kind of a campaign coming up for Black Friday or Cyber Monday, whenever they are. So stay tuned. But of course, like, now is always the best time to enroll. So don't wait too long, because upskilling is always a relevant thing.
Hell yeah. And also, if you think you know everything, just go to the technical marketing handbook and test.
Oh, it's so good that you remind me about this stuff. Yeah, so go to the technical marketing handbook. That's handbook.teamsimmer.com, and that's completely free. Have your team read it as well. It's a good way to get a good refresher on all things technical marketing.
Or try to take your GTM test, which everybody failed.
Yeah, that's, oh man, you shouldn't have talked about that, because I've been reminding myself that I need to go over all the questions, because I think there are some things that have changed. Okay, thank you for the nudge. I'll do it.
You're welcome.
I'll fix it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let make sure you go to the episode notes. You will find the URLs to go and explore the SEMA courses. You can use the coupon code DVA. And now let's get Dennis on stage, because I have a suspicion that he has a love story with the servers.
Yeah, and before Dennis comes, we really need to change our clothes, because this is the contrast is not doing well. So we might have different clothes during the interview, but that's only because we just changed them,
Yeah, we
not
speak
because of any other reason that you could think
no
of.
reason. Cool. Let's have Dennis in.
Huge applause. We have Dennis in the house. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you, guy?
Yeah, we're totally in the flow, and absolutely dedicated to making this the best episode ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Nice to have
So
you here, Dennis. It's been long coming. We're
yeah.
excited. I hope you're
So
gonna have a good time with us today. Okay, Simo, I'll let you go.
yeah, no. I'm just kind of excited to get to finally chat with Dennis about
Yeah.
these things. So we're seeing you all over the place. You're in all of those events now, much more than before. So do you want to just say a few words about why? So first of all, you're the co-founder of Stape, and you're the kind of the guy who runs the ship. Why are you all over the place? Why do we see you everywhere? What's happening at Stape? Have you exploded completely? Like, do you have are you the biggest company in Europe right now, or what's going on?
Not still not the biggest one, but we are, want to be the biggest. So at this moment, we are everywhere because really we are exploding very fast. So we grown from 18 people last year, and now we have more than 53, like more than 50 now, and we're still hiring more and more people. That's why we're trying to be everywhere, to meet more
Mm.
agencies, to meet more freelancers who work with us, to meet more people. And yeah, so answer is to your question. Everything is correct. So we are exploding and we want to be everywhere. That's why.
Yeah.
But
And
tell me,
so,
where do you start this? Sorry, Simon.
no, 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 go ahead.
It's like I know you guys because I've clearly seen you at measure camps. I've begged for your merch. Thank you for the merch, by the way.
It's good merch.
Uh, it's very nice merch. But I just kind of want to know, like, how did it all start? Like, what was the problem you were trying to solve, and you said, okay, this is Stape is gonna be it.
So the story is pretty short. My wife were always a person who set up GTM and marketing campaigns, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, etc. And usually she is a little bit technical, more technical, and that's why on her job she always gets something about GTM because other marketing people didn't know how to configure it. And when server-side GTM pop-ups, she decided I will try. And when she tried, she understand like I need servers. It's pretty hard. I don't know where to install server, etc. And she asked me. I always been like a server-side guy. I'm writing backends for mobile application for all this stuff. I sleep with the servers literally. So my first job was like the guy who sleep with servers in the movies. In the movies, it's usually guys with a long bread, but in reality, usually this is students because nobody want to work at night, and so as a student, I worked with the servers. So back to the story. She asked me how to set up server side GTM. So I helped her, and and at that moment there platforms like Google and Meta, they supported a lot people who started server-side tracking. They give some bonuses, etc. And she decided, okay, I will try to do this on Upwork for a few more people. And she found it on Upwork few people who needed server-side tracking, server-side GTM, and started to implement for them GTM. And my role in this was like a help with servers, and if something bad happened with server, help with server,
Mm.
support servers. And we understand pretty fast that demand is big, especially for freelancers and for people like small agencies, 2 10 people who's like managing ad campaigns and didn't know how to set up servers. And that's why we decided to create one button, like one button installation of server-side GTM. That's the whole idea behind it. And we created it pretty fast on WordPress site, and we started to get transactions one by one, and we then understand that we need to hire people, put money into design and everything. And yeah, we got money from like it's all our own money, but there was like some budgets for this and then that, and but we got this all money and put on into the Stape to lawyers to create like a DPOs, term of uses, all this stuff, designers, front-end developers, and created Stape.
And that's the origin story.
Yeah.
And then
So
you
the
kind of blew
story
up.
is my wife needed server-side tracking,
Yeah.
so it's like
Did you watch the? Have you seen the Silicon Valley TV series?
yeah, of course.
Because they have the server, the guy who sleeps with servers, the one with the ponytail. He's just about the funniest character in the show, like the funniest sidekick in the show. Like this totally. When you described that you sleep with the servers, I first thought this is like a start of a bad porn movie, but it was actually reminds me much of that Silicon Valley Valley Good. Yeah, but you don't have the ponytail though.
No, but I
Can
have a
borrow
lot of
one
weird
of my
things.
wigs if you
Yeah,
want,
yeah,
because I have a lot. Not
yeah, yeah. So
but
that's interesting. So when people come to so here's what I so we don't want to turn this into a 30-minute pitch, but I am interested in knowing, like, when people come to you, or when people talk about you, the first thing they usually mention is cost. So they find that you are a cheaper alternative to going directly with Google Cloud, for example, because you can sell things at scale. Like you can, it's cheaper to sell 1,000 instances than to sell just one instance. comparatively. But when they then come and use Stape, do you find that they have a lot of individual requests, like idiosyncratic needs, that they want the server to work in a certain way for their company, and they're not might not be happy with your default settings? And what do you kind of do with that as a SaaS vendor? Do you tailor any setups for certain clients, or how does it work?
We call it a private cluster.
Mm,
So there is pretty large enterprises in Europe that for any reason cannot work with Google. There is other part. So there is smaller clients who can go to Google and go to Stay because of price or
mm,
easier to stop. But there is large enterprises who use Stay because of GDPR or some other rules. So imagine airports, they cannot work with US companies. Even Google have EU company for some restrictions they cannot work with Google,
mm.
so they need EU vendor. So they come to us and say we need some super private setup etc in EU. We help with this, but it costs much more. It
But
probably in some cases, especially it's if it requires a lot of certifications from our side, it can be even more expensive than on GCP. But
mm,
on standard private cluster, it's prices. It depends, but by client
yeah,
can be
yeah,
cheaper, can be more. But we do this, and it's really depends on client's need.
and so hold on. When for those who want a private cluster that's strictly EU and there's no data transfer to use, do you still use server-side GTM, or do you have your own kind of server-side setup for them that is completely not related to GTM in any way?
Some so it again it depends on clients. For some of them, we have own solution, and but mostly people choose server-side GTM with proxy. So thanks to Google, Google provides this
Mm,
outgoing proxy that can
yeah,
restrict anything they wanted. So we see a lot of pretty weird outgoing requests, to be honest, and we block all of them. It's nothing special. There are no PIIs or something in this request from SGTM, but
yeah,
people prefer to block everything.
yeah. That's interesting. Oh,
Thinking about your story with your wife and you sleeping with servers,
we have to come back to this all the
I
time
have
because
to
that's
come
an
back
interesting
to it.
analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I actually, one thing that I noticed when it comes to server side is that it's also more about, like, from an educational point of view, it's more about the tagging part and the GTM part versus the, I guess, the foundational education about what is a server, what is load balancing, what are, clusters, how can you ensure, scalability with clusters. So I come from it. I used to work as customer support manager for sysadmins. That's probably where I got my thick skin because I was managing a bunch of sysadmins. But just wanted to ask both of you, since both of you sleep with servers, probably not at the same time, but like, do you feel like there is
This is
what I
getting
do?
ridiculous.
This is what I do. No, but
You're
seriously
the
though,
person who provides the servers for these addicts. You're like the server pimp.
no, but seriously, like, do you feel like we are focusing too much on the tagging part versus the actual foundational education that we need to all have about server management and so on? Or am I tripping?
Well, I mean, we know the whole purpose of like server-side GTM and of Stape, I think, is that people don't have to worry about the foundational stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like I think it's an appropriate abstraction. Like at Simmer, we've taken a very deliberate course of action to teach people about the foundational stuff, simply because that's our philosophy. Like I've always thought it's most satisfying to learn how things work beneath the abstractions, even
Yeah.
if you never need to use that knowledge for anything. But I do understand that it alienates a lot of people, and for them, they'll definitely go to Stape or some other company where they
Mhm.
don't have to think about this one bit. All
Yeah.
they'll need to say is we wanna collect to meta, we want to collect to GA, we want a certain uptime, we want a certain latency, maybe if they know that what those terms mean, and we want to pay this much. And then
Mm.
Dennis and crew comes up with a solution. If am I kind of putting it in a nutshell?
Yeah, that's completely right. And I want to add that from like customers, there is a lot of founders of other startups, small shops, or like
Mm,
imagine you are a small shop on Shopify or WordPress. You're like a tracking setup. It's like 1% of
yeah,
your time. It's
Yeah.
even like for of course money important, But even like back to the, I don't have time to get deep with this at all. And
Yeah,
that's there is a lot of such people, and yes, Tapes is for these people all.
Yeah.
that's great.
Do,
Yeah.
do you ever feel like, and now I may, so I'm just saying what I think, what I see is like when people talk about Stape, they often start with the pricing, like you are a low cost alternative. Do you ever feel like that's backfiring against you? Like when people come to you and say that we heard you're the cheapest, and then maybe you are inexpensive, but soon, when they want to add power ups and when they want to scale up, you're not that cheap anymore. Or would you like to have some other reputation? Let me put it like that.
Yeah, I think we have good reputation regarding help and what all around support. But basically, there are a lot of customers who come to us after GCP, not because they know how to they already set up GCP, for example, everything run it, but then they have questions and needed these power ups. So they come to us because we provide help uh, to all paid plans, and they appreciate this a lot. So I think besides cheap part, we provide and do a lot around education and support.
Yeah.
And I think now more and more people come to us because of this.
No, yeah. It's been really. I gotta say, it's been really impressive seeing the amount of content that you all put out for the benefit of the community. Um, yeah, but do you
Sorry.
go on? No, it's your turn. It's your turn.
I was wondering, like, in terms of the clients that you have, because you're saying that you're serving like smaller companies or like people that don't necessarily understand the whole, spectrum of server side. What are some like common misconceptions that these clients have about server side? What do you think they click on it and everything is all right and they're compliant or stuff like that?
Mm.
Oh, I think this is the biggest mistake. People think if you use server side tracking, you don't need consent. It's like the worst thing that happened to people. I don't know where they read this, why they think so, but there are like a lot of people that think that server side tracking means didn't need any consent. And the second, it was like a little bit previously. It's about third-party cookies. When it was everything was started, people think that you need server-side tracking for restoring third-party cookies.
Yeah. No, I have an even better one. Like they said that you can use server-side tracking um, to switch third-party cookies into first-party cookies. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh, this is not how it works. Please let
What?
me intervene. Please let me intervene.
I never heard that one before. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So how do you like go about besides probably sending them to Simo's blog,
Yeah.
but like what, but how do you what are like are the efforts that you're doing to educate your clients and the market to understand, like, because I know you're doing a lot, but it's good probably for listeners to also know exactly how are you doing this, like how are you educating.
So we actually started less than months ago our academy. There already we released Stape Academy.
Wow, I
Uh,
didn't know that.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. It's like a beta start. That's why we not publish it anywhere. But it's like everybody who registered to Stape already can use it. So we put it a lot of effort to create this platform. There is only one course now, but we will add more in the future, and there will be like a dedicated landing page. We will promote this academy and all around this. So that's what we're doing now with education. It's completely free. uh, Everybody can use it, and I want to add that a lot of people who use our tags for server-side GTM, they come to our support and ask for help, even they don't use Stape, and there are a lot
Mm.
of such people. And usually our decision was, let's help them. Why? Because we heard a lot of feedback to our tags and we enhance them, so our customers in the end are more happier because texts have more features. So
Mm.
if even person asks something that not used Stape in our text, it means probably there is persons who are using Stape with other our techs. So we still update them and support them even if you're not like using Stape. So in terms of education, we try to respond everybody everywhere. Doesn't matter you Stape or
Mm.
not. Academy, it's a really big part. We like hire a dedicated person for it, for set up everything. We created a lot of videos and we're still producing videos for it.
It's
And yeah, that's it, I think. And blog, of course, blog. We started with blog and still do a lot of blog posts.
Yeah. No, but that's a good, like, that's a kind of European socialist tradition, is to just make sure that the knowledge is available and you don't have to any strings attached. Because ultimately, like, we all benefit, like whether you're a SaaS vendor or an educator, we all benefit from the, like, the basic level of knowledge improving. And it's always going to be a good thing. So if you have the resources and the energy to do this stuff for free, then of course, like, it's a noble goal and everybody benefits from it. And you've been doing it a lot, so that's of course really cool.
so if I don't know how to set up something, I'm gonna come with your customer support chat
Yeah, for sure.
and
Yeah,
ask
sure.
your developers like help me do this on
Yeah.
it. um Before kind of we thought we switched to some other stuff more into like the geeky things that you and Simo like to talk about. I want to ask, like, from a business owner perspective, what were some struggles that you faced with the business? Like, are you in the scale grow mode right now? Like, how is it as a founder? How are you dealing with the challenges? Because I cannot imagine this is easy for you.
Yeah, the main challenge is like I think it's acceptable for all startups. That's people, the right people. And Stave was like only my friends until 15 people. So there was
You
no
have a
other
lot of
like a
friends. I'm impressed.
Yeah,
like
14 friends. That's so cool.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
yeah.
have that in your 40s anymore.
10 more than I have.
So we started like I hired more and more just friends and that's it. The idea was like behind this because nobody knows server side tracking mostly.
Mm,
So we tried to find some people who understand what's happening. But then we
mm,
understand let's find good people and teach them.
Yes,
So actually, internally, we teach people based on similar courses. Also, we like subscribe it on them. We have guides internally for onboarding new people and teaching server side. So usually we not hire a person who already know server side tracking. Usually, we, like hire people that are just good people and know how to code. If you know how to write a code, like you good person for us and we hire you. But yeah, for main struggle, it's all around people. If you finding good people, they will help you to grow business and will know what to do, what to answer, and yeah.
and you started off as a purely Ukrainian company, was that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We started this in Kiev with my wife, and then we registered US company and then Estonian company for like EU GDPR things.
Mm. And do you still hire a lot of Ukrainian, or do you have like a policy that you want to have a certain amount of people from Ukraine?
There are no such policy, but now I think a little bit more than half of people is in
Oh, that's cool.
Ukraine,
that's awesome.
and we like hire people in Ukraine continuously. So yeah, we
Yeah. But you are bathing in the Spanish sun, right?
yes.
Yes.
I'm now under a Spanish sun. It's a
Yeah.
great place
But
to be
yeah.
honest.
But it would of course be lovely to go back home.
That's why you're so tan, and I'm not. I'm probably gonna turn. I'm gonna be a ghost probably in the next months.
It's only next month. When summer kicks in Malmo, it's really beautiful, and it's much longer than the summer in Finland. So enjoy.
Yeah. It's been nice. It's been nice, but
Yeah.
don't wanna. But are you gonna come to Measure Camp Malmo? Actually, Dennis.
We we will be sponsors on Malmo.
Ooh, I'll see you.
So somebody from the team definitely will come. I'm still not sure. I know this is after New Year, so
Yeah,
maybe I will come.
January.
But basically, I have very small kid, new kid, at
Oh
home,
yeah, you
so
know.
3 weeks only. So
Yeah,
that's why
congratulations! Wow.
I'm not in London or Berlin on measure camp. But yeah,
I think you have more important stuff to do than hang out with us.
Mm.
But me being jealous also on because I seen so many posts on LinkedIn from Measure Camp London. I was petty. I said, I am not there because everybody, oh, I'm in Measure Camp London. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was petty. But so in terms of like what are the next steps for Stape? Like what are you guys planning to do? I think when we met at was it at Measure Camp Copenhagen when we met last?
yeah, I think it was
You were
Copenhagen.
telling me, yeah, you were telling me that you're trying to expand through AI services and doing more things in that direction. So like how does that look for Stape?
So currently, like nothing changed. All our tests around IE, or like we see few, we have really good ideas around IE, how to add it to HDTM. The problem is we didn't find any solution to make it affordable. I would let's say it
Mm.
like this, because Google provides some options in their FOIA thing, for a repository, but all of these are pretty expensive, and we trying to find a solution even on our own servers. We tried; it's still pretty expensive. So I think we need to little bit wait. I saw that new models cheaper and cheaper, and there is new models that now runs inside memory of graphic cards or something. They are way cheaper, so maybe in 1 year or half year it will be uh,
What,
affordable
what
enough.
what would that do? Like, what would you use AI for in SG2? And why?
Predictions. We have, for example, bot detection. We have bot detection, and it not a lot of customers use it and love it, and but there are no AI component or something, and we pay a lot to other vendors to support this bot detection thing. So we
Mm.
want to move bot detection to our side, to not pay to other vendors to provide this feature. So that's first one. Second one is all kinds of predictions. So this customer will buy or not buy, and there is a lot of stuff that you can imagine using AI, but it's need to be work in real time. Vertex AI help with this. It's pretty
Mm.
easy to achieve to like online getting answers, but problem in price.
No.
S- So main like our current focus is on Stape Analytic. I don't know if you saw it before. We released it also in September, 1st of September, I think, Stape Analytics, and we will add more and more features there.
Can
Yeah,
you
so tell
tell?
us about that. So it's
Yeah,
it
tell us.
was it a monitoring system, or do you actually use it as like just as a behavioral data warehouse, or what do you do?
No, no, it's more like about how much data we restore it for you, or like we gather data, how many bots were on your side, and we show like there like 100% people were like 20% is bots, 80% is other people, like real people. From this 80%, 30% or 20% were with ad blockers, and who used it which events, so how much events of purchase, how many purchases we restored because of ad blockers, or how many people use it ITP prevention system, or like all this stuff around state. Like that's why it called not general analytics but Stape Analytics, and we focus it more on data quality, and
Yeah,
we
so it's
will
more
add
like a
more.
monitoring system.
We have monitoring, dedicated like alerting system, I would call
Mm.
it monitoring. We call our monitoring what in GCP call it alerting. We have like if you had 100 500 errors in
Mm.
logs. So if you had like a last hour more than five errors, 500, then we will send you email. So we call
Mm.
this monitoring. And for analytics, we describes how we help you and how server side help you to restore the data, what is the quality of the data, which parameters were sent, and yeah, it's about data quality.
That's pretty cool. Do you have like a demo one can play with?
Yeah, we actually have a demo account on the site available, so everybody can take a look.
Yeah, we'll definitely link that in our in our comment section. And yeah, just really excited to test it because like I see like I'm on LinkedIn for no reason. I miss on the most important stuff. Like you announce it, and I'm here just liking memes and emojiing stuff that I shouldn't. Yeah, cool. Well, I guess like my last question, and I know we can talk about this like for another hour. Where can people, like if I was to listen right now to this podcast and I haven't, this is my first time hearing about Stape. How can somebody get started? Like, what are the, I don't know, top 3 4 steps somebody can do to try Stape today for their configuration? Let's say you're a web analyst and you want to go server side for the first time. So like, what can you do?
I think we have a really good blog post exactly describing. They're literally interesting in people search in Google
Mm,
what you're asking now. So there is people who want to how to start server side tracking. Literally, this keywords in Google, and we have dedicated blog post exactly for this search term that starts you like. You need to register on Stape, create server-side Google Tag Manager,
mhm.
and put transport URL inside your GA4. That's it. Basically, some people think that it's very hard to start server-side tracking, but in reality, you need to create account and put transport URL parameter. That's it. That's already will be like server-side tracking.
Hmm.
That's awesome. Make sure I'm gonna link that too in the comments.
Well, let me do an anti-pitch for you. So
Ooh.
why wouldn't someone go with, like, when would you see that there's room to self-manage to go with GCP or AWS or Azure or something else? Like, who's your anti-target group?
Anti-Tiger target group, I think it's people who already have all their stuff on GCP. So there is people like imagine if you are using, I don't know, DigitalOcean and you need GCP, probably you are Stape. But if you have all infrastructure on GCP, there are already DevOps who managing not DevOps but entire team who managing this, and there is a dedicated team who managing BigQuery and data warehouse for you. Probably you not like will go with Stay because you have already enough people to
Mm,
maintain it, and everything. So I think this is like a, and it's the same for AWS. If you have enough people for managing servers, etc., again, probably not Stay.
mm. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I have to say, because I've always thought that, like I said earlier about understanding the things that happen beneath the abstractions. I've considered server-side GTM and GEA4, by extension of having to use Google BigQuery to make sense out of the tool, to be a wonderful way of learning the basics of like cloud infrastructure and cloud computing, because you're using some of the most basic building blocks like Cloud Run. Actually, that's the only thing you have to use. But of course, if you want to start going with load balancing, it gets a bit more complicated. So I've always thought that that's a wonderful way to set things up. But that's how we've built our Simmer courses. We want people to understand that. It would be interesting, and I know there is a migration path from building stuff yourself and seeing it all work beautifully, and then still going to Stape, because of all the things you add on top of that. Like, you add the proxies, you add the like the reverse proxies, you add the power ups and everything else. So I am kind of curious if on your roadmap, or if you already offer a kind of a hybrid model where people have their own infra, but you add on top of that some modularity somehow, some APIs maybe that they can call, get your bot detection or your power ups.
We think it. To be honest, there is this thing in our backlog. We discussed this internally. Some kind. We call it cloud task. Call it Cloudflare for GTM server.
Yeah, yeah, like an edge
Literally.
service. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have this task in our backlog, but currently there are no such like we not provide such services at this
Yeah,
moment. But we
yeah,
thinking about this.
yeah. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
Last question: what are you doing with GTM tools? Because I know Stape bought GTM tools from Simo, and thank you for not letting it die because I really love that tool so much and the beautiful visualization. But what's the plan? Last question: what are you planning to do with it? Are you gonna keep it free? Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. We will keep it free, until I am CEO of Stape. I hope there will be no any changes to GTM tools, and we for features basically currently for 1st of November, our developers should finish writing for front end, full rewrite of front end,
Wow.
and we should added server side support for server side containers. But is there some delay? There is some delay on on backend side.
Mm.
But like the next two features, it's definitely a new front end and support of server side GTM. And then we want to create not new like a thing, call it monitoring of templates. There is a bunch of templates that are not in gallery, like data client, for example, and a lot of clients ask us, please send us updates about when you update
Yeah.
data client. And there are no normal way to do this. And that's why we want to add this functionality to GTM tools. Like
Yeah.
you will be able to subscribe to updates and even put like checkbox, I want to update this template automatically.
Yeah. Before the community template gallery was released to GTM, David Vallejo and I built gtmtemplates.com, which had exactly that feature, and it was so cool. So that would be nice. I have another idea for your backlog, by the way, because this is something I've been tinkering with. Um, the GTM export has a standardized JSON format. It's like a very simple JSON schema. So I've been tinkering with like using an kind of LLM model to instruct how to build a GTM export schema, like add some triggers, add these tags, add these variables. Please build me a container that has these, and then it outputs the export JSON, and then you just import that into GTM. So you can kind of tell it how you want your GTM container to look, what tags it should have, and that should be simple to do because the source data is there. You can basically train it with hundreds of thousands of container exports that you get either willingly or then you just steal them from someone. But so that's been something I'm tinkering with because it's a 100% technical problem with a very predictable relationship between the input and the output. There's no magic. It doesn't even have to be AI. It could just be machine learning for all
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it's worth.
exactly.
But that would be really cool to have that. If you really want to add that AI power somewhere, then that would be useful.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it would.
cool. Dennis,
Yeah, yeah,
where can people find you, message you, stalk you, ask you for server side tips?
this is for
I'm
This is for me. Yeah. Where can I
Where can
ask
I
you
make
for
use of you for
help?
free?
Exactly.
Yeah. You always can write me on LinkedIn or Twitter, and I attending a lot of measure camps with Stape sponsoring like a lot of conferences now.
Mhm.
So I go to almost like all of them. So you can find usually me on measure camps and on LinkedIn. So
Yeah, and then
Awesome.
Stape.io, of course.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you mentioned Measure Slack. So Dennis is very active there as well, and there's a lot of people using Stape there. So even if you're not using Stape, you'll at least have the benefit of his knowledge for the entire community.
You can get
Uh,
free
s-
info.
Yeah, you,
thank
you're,
you.
you're caught up on this free thing now.
You know how I am.
Yeah,
And thank you mentioning measures. Like it's really a good channel for us, and we do a lot of support there. We added almost like we adding more and more people from our support team to this channel
that's good.
because people asking there a lot of questions.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Definitely have to have you again in the next season, next
for
year.
sure.
And
Yeah, thank you
yeah,
so
really,
much.
Really happy to have you. Thanks everybody for listening, and make sure you check the notes and the episode notes or the description if you're watching us and see me wearing this hat. And I'll see you guys next time.